Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us. It is 8:57, so we've got a few more minutes.
I'm just going to make sure my mic is working and I'm audible. Like I heard Justin earlier too. So.
I hear you loud and clear, Vanessa. Thank you. How about the rest of you? Justin, you want to give a holler?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Hello.
Hear you. Scott, how about yourself?
Good morning, Stephanie. Hopefully everyone can hear me.
Good morning. And Shayna.
Good morning, everyone. Hopefully everyone can hear me as well.
Shayna, that was really faint.
Okay. Can you hear me better now?
Teresa, what do you think? Still sounds a little faint to me, but
Say something again, Shayna.
Hello, can you hear me?
That's better.
Okay, I'll lean in a little bit.
do you want me to start right promptly, like 9 o'clock, or you want me to wait like a minute?
It's up to you, Steph. It's 9. I said we can get started.
Okay. So I just say go and then you open it up and you start the recording? Are we live now? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Oh, good. Well, good morning. Thank you everyone for attending today. I want to congratulate you on taking some time out of your busy schedule to invest in yourselves by coming and attending an event like today's Expo. So congratulations to you. Thank you for being here. I want to tell you first that today's discussion will be recorded and it will be made available both on our Expo website as well as our CPUC website. And if you object to being recorded, please disconnect and then you can watch it later. But I did need to make sure everyone is aware of that. So with that said, my name is Stephanie Green. I am a manager here at the CPUC and I oversee the CPUC Supplier Diversity and Small Business Programs. And I'll start by just giving you a little bit of background. The Commission regulates services and utilities, it protects consumers, it safeguards the environment, and we assure access to safe and reliable utility infrastructure and services. The Commission also, through its Public Utility Code Section 8281 through 8286 and General Order 156, requires the utilities, communication companies, and electric service providers to develop supplier diversity plans and provide annual reports on their performance procuring from minority, women, disabled veterans, and LGBT businesses. The Commission, per Utilities Code Section 366.2, Furthermore, requires community choice aggregators to have plans to increase procurement from small, local, and diverse businesses in all categories, and to report annually on their procurement from minority, women, and disabled, veteran, and LGBT businesses. And for the CPUC Supplier Diversity Program, the Clearinghouse provides certification for minority, women, and LGBT businesses, and the Department of General Services provides the certification for disabled veteran businesses. If you have certification questions, both the Clearinghouse and DGS are exhibiting at today's Expo. And today we have a panel prepared with community choice aggregator representatives. We're going to have conversations about their procurement process, various business programs available opportunities, and how to access those opportunities. And if you were unaware, community choice aggregators aggregate power purchasing within a defined jurisdiction, usually a city or a county, and to secure their alternate energy supply and lower electric cost. As mentioned previously, the PUC code requires these entities to increase procurement from small and diverse suppliers. I hope that the conversations here today, we are able to provide you with valuable resources and insights. Today's session again will be recorded for better sound quality, where all attendees except the panelists are muted. And if you have any questions, please use the Q&A box. And with that background, let's get to our panel. If each of you could please tell me your name, what CCA you came from, and your role at the CCA. I'll start with Shana.
Great, thank you, Stephanie. My name is Shana Barnes. I am coming from Peninsula Clean Energy, and we are the CCA that represents San Mateo County, and in 2022 will represent the city of Los Banos as well, which we're very excited about. We have an annual load of 3,500 gigawatt hours and approximately 300,000 customer accounts. And our default electricity option is 100% GHG free and 50% renewable. And at Peninsula Clean Energy, I'm the operations specialist. So I work on a wide variety of things, one of which is supplier diversity initiatives and also our diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you, Shana. How about we go to Justin next?
Thank you, Stephanie. Good morning, everyone. My name is Justin Marquez. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a community development specialist, community development manager at MCE. And MCE is the CCA that serves Marin, Napa, Solano, and Contra Costa counties, serving over 500,000 accounts across 4 territories in the Bay Area of California. And MCE is really proud to be the first CCA program in the state. We are celebrating 11 years of service this year, and we are really excited to be a part of today's Business Expo. We've been doing supplier diversity work over the last few years, building up our program, and we're excited to partner more with the CPUC staff as well as the larger supplier diversity community. And I'm excited to be on this panel. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Justin. How about we go to Vanessa next?
Vanessa. Thanks, Stephanie. Good morning. And Justin, hopefully the slip up from specialist to manager means you've recently been promoted. If so, well deserved. I'm Vanessa Gerber. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm representing East Bay Community Energy. So we are the CCA that serves Alameda County, which is all of the cities in unincorporated county of Alameda, except for the city of Alameda has their own municipal utility. And we're also serving the city of Tracy in San Joaquin County. So getting into the Central Valley as well. We serve about 1.5 million people, pretty dense population, as well as business community here in the East Bay. I work in strategic operations. So we are younger than MCE, as Justin alluded. MCE is one of the elder CCAs. And so we've been serving customers just over 3 years here. And so I've been at East Bay for a little over 2, running a number of initiatives, one of which is our supplier diversity program, but also in my operations role, see and have been involved in a lot of different types of procurement. So excited to share some of those insights on this panel. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And Scott, how about yourself? Can you tell us?
Thank you, Stephanie, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Scott Gropp, and I am here representing Clean Power Alliance. So Clean Power Alliance is the CCA for the Greater Los Angeles area. So we have around 3 million customers in the unincorporated Los Angeles County, Ventura County, and around 30 cities within that area. So we were founded in 2017. So we are also among the younger CCAs in California. I'm the procurement administrator at CPA, so I manage the non-energy contracting process. So I'm really excited to talk to everyone about opportunities outside of just procuring energy, because as a business, we do have all of the operational needs that every other business has.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, as you guys can hear, we have a great panel here today. Well, let's start off with some of our questions. The first one is, could you please tell us, could you walk us through your procurement and contracting process from developing a solicitation to marketing and contract selection? And if you didn't already tell us about your geographic area, if you could just remind us the geographic area you represent and the CCA, and then tell us about the procurement contracting process and how you develop your solicitations and how you market and how you do your contract selection. And I'll let you guys decide who wants to go first. Or would you prefer I pick someone? I see Vanessa smiling, so how about Vanessa? Do you want to go first?
I was just going to say, how's this going to go? I'm happy to go first. I think we'll probably all have some similarities. But as I mentioned, I do have experience both on our power procurement and our non-power procurement. So perhaps maybe I'll focus mostly on our power and kind of some light comments on the non-power procurement, because I know some other folks have perhaps some more direct experience there, but of course chime in. So in terms of our power procurement, I would imagine many folks, if you've been to this event before, either virtually or in person, have some experience with some of the utilities, perhaps the electric and gas utilities. CCAs are slightly different in what we're procuring. We're not necessarily, this isn't necessarily true for all CCAs and might change over time, but when we are purchasing power, it's typically a contract, and we're not physically owning the project. I think that might be different for some, but I'll speak for East Bay. So the project, conveniently, in my Zoom background here, this is the Scott Haggerty Wind Energy Center. It's a wind project out in Livermore. So I'll use that as an example. In order for us to procure energy from this wind project, we put out a solicitation, and that was very, very kind of broadly California renewables. Since then, we put out ones that have been also some out of state and some energy storage as well. But in this energy solicitation, we put out, there are parameters of what we're looking for in terms of the size, kind of minimum and maximum timeline on which we need the energy to come online. Some labor requirements as well. We have union labor requirements, really wanting to see a project labor agreement already in place, ideally. So there's certain things, and we'll put that together in a request for proposals or request for offers, put that solicitation on our website. The way we market that, we have a solicitations email list, which you can sign up for on our webpage. I think probably the bottom of almost any webpage on the EBCE website has an email opt-in list. You can check solicitations. It's also on our solicitations page. And we'll also put it out to an email list of developers that can grow over time. Those are typically the channels that we're marketing it to. And then once that is open, we'll have a respondent webinar. It's a great opportunity to get questions answered. No bad questions. That's the chance for bidders to make sure they can confidently respond to all of the requirements that we have in our solicitation protocol. And then it will close, bids will come in, and we will go through an evaluation process. You know, we're really looking for developer experience. I also specifically experience building in California, kind of bonus if they have experience with the other CCAs, because they really know what we need and the risks that we're working with and the compliance needs that we have. We look for a footprint in our service area, either their business operates in our service area. This is true for all of our procurements. We like local first, and or if they use labor from our service area. Looking at project risks, how they've been mitigated, and of course cost competitiveness. And so, you know, we put all those things and score them, ask follow-up questions, and for power projects, we'll do quite rigorous analysis of what this the economics and the risk of that project is going to look like for us and in our portfolio, and we'll typically, you know, sign a couple of contracts out of that. Once the contract is signed, construction's, you know, financing is secured and construction starts, boots are on the ground out there in Livermore building this beautiful wind project. Takes a long time, and we have progress reports through the way, and that's a you know, kind of wanted to detail that in case that's helpful for folks to understand our power procurement process. And those are typically, we're doing those about once every 2 years, with some good lead time of kind of, you know, we'll put a coming soon solicitation hold. And for our distributed commercial and residential power projects, those are typically solar and or storage. Slightly less regular schedule going forward, but we will also put out solicitations, and that process is going to look very similar, though the types of developers, so potential bidders, and requirements might be slightly different because those projects are going to be smaller. That may not be on open land. That might be, you know, on a school or a grocery store or a fire station, something like that. So all of those processes are quite similar. The schedules might be a little bit different, but you know, one solicitation to the next, those materials should look pretty similar, and the process should look pretty similar as well. I've said a lot, so I'll pass the non-power and any input to the power to one of my colleagues here.
No, this was great. Thank you so much. And I love the fact that you highlighted the fact that you have the solicitation email list. You explained the RFP process, particularly highlighted, you know, the businesses that you look for their footprint to be in your service territory, as well as whether they have union versus non-union labor. Those are some, and cost competitiveness. Those are some really important things to highlight. So yeah, Scott, why don't you have us tell us a little bit about your perspective on and how your CCA does things?
Thank you, Stephanie. Absolutely. Thank you, Vanessa, as well, because I think you did a really great job of explaining the sort of RFP process, how it typically happens for energy procurement. I think that's pretty spot on with how CPA runs their energy procurements as well. So most people, I think, are at least somewhat familiar with the RFP process. One of the things I would say, if you want more information about what a CPA RFP looks like, you can actually take a look at CPA's website under the Contracting Opportunities tab. So typically we like to leave RFPs from the past year on the website so that anyone who's interested in taking a look can actually look at past RFPs as examples. So you can get an idea what kind of questions are we typically asking, what does the format look like, what would your answers kind of be expected to look like. So I think that speaks to the energy side. I won't recap that, but I will move on a little bit to the non-energy procurement. So I don't know if people in general are aware, but the majority of our budget, of course, does go to energy procurement. So for CPA, we spend about $750 million a year on procuring energy. And then for other contracting needs, we spend around $20 million a year. So those would be for all of the kind of operational expenses that keep the business running. So those are the contracts that I'm typically working on. And you can also see those opportunities on CPA's contracting website. they could take a couple different forms. So we do have RFPs, as Vanessa explained, not only for energy, but sometimes we have RFPs for non-energy contracting opportunities as well. It really depends on how specialized the services are that we are purchasing. However, sometimes we're purchasing things that aren't quite as specialized, and it goes through a little bit more abbreviated process where we do what's called a task order. So task order solicitations typically are for things that, you know, a much larger pool of providers might be able to work on. So we keep a list of what we call pre-qualified providers. When a new task order is up for a solicitation, an email goes out to all of those providers. So one thing I always like to encourage people to do is to become a pre-qualified provider. It's a pretty straightforward process. Again, there is a link on our website on the contracting tab. So to become a pre-qualified provider, basically you need to sign up, review CPA's terms and conditions, sign a master agreement with CPA. Once that has been established, you will be on an email list for the particular types of services that you provide for all future solicitations. So I think that is one way that small businesses can, you know, make sure that they're getting access to some of these contracting opportunities, maybe for services that you wouldn't necessarily think are related to energy procurement. So, you know, some of the questions I've seen associated with this event are people asking, hey, I'm not in the energy sector, can I participate, you know, A, in this event, and B, in future contracting opportunities? The answer is, of course, because we still need all of those things, right? We're not just procuring energy, we're procuring a wide range of services to keep the business running. It could be something, you know, for an event that we're going to. We could be looking for transportation services. We could be looking for, you know, catering services. It's a really wide range of services. So we encourage people to participate in all of those solicitation activities, and becoming a pre-qualified provider is the first and I think easiest step you can take to kind of get on that list and be part of our pool of providers.
Thank you. That was really interesting. I love the way you highlighted the fact that some of the past RFPs are on your website, and highlighted that task order solicitation process and becoming a pre-qualified providers. That is really helpful. So thank you. Let's go now to Vanessa. She seems to be the next one, or actually, Vanessa.
I'll just.
Oh, Shayna. I'm sorry. I meant
Yeah, I
to
was
say
gonna say.
Shayna. Sorry, I was looking.
Go for it, Shayna.
Great, thank you. I think Vanessa and Scott really covered it really well, but I'll focus on non-energy procurement for Peninsula Clean Energy. So solicitations are typically developed by certain teams, for example, energy programs or marketing, to fit certain needs as they arise for outside services and products. We have a standard RFP template that we use that includes an optional supplier diversity questionnaire, which we don't use in the scoring process as a public agency because of Prop 209 limitations, but we do use it for data collection processes. Solicitations are then shared in several ways, including posting on our website on our solicitation page. And we do have all of our previous solicitations posted there as well for reference. They're then shared on LinkedIn, often shared via direct mail to organizations who might be a good fit. And then sometimes we pull lists from the supplier clearinghouse by keyword for other entities that might be a good fit. And we also post on bid boards like Public Purchase and share with our local and ethnic chambers of commerce to get the word out. We also share solicitations in our board newsletter and customer newsletter as well. And then proposals and applications are then reviewed by the project team that released the solicitation, and often a shortlist is created and finalists are then brought in for interviews. Final consultant selection is based off of who the project team believes is best fit for our needs. And then the final contract is then taken to our board of directors if it's over $100,000, which are publicly held meetings that public members can attend and voice their opinions on as well. So that's kind of the outline of our process.
Wow. Thank you. I love the fact that you highlighted that you can find postings not only on your website, but LinkedIn, the Clearinghouse, the bid boards, and chambers. That's great. And it's interesting the way you highlighted the fact that it actually, if it's over 100, goes to the board. So thank you. All great new knowledge and pearls of information for our audience here today. So let's go to Justin next. Justin,
Yeah, thank you,
I'm
Stephanie.
sure you have more to add.
Yeah, I mean, I think Vanessa, said at the beginning, we all have very similar processes. So I think I'd really highlight that we are public agencies. We're local public agencies that go through very thorough RFP, RFO processes. And I think CCA, the acronym itself is Community Choice Aggregation, and the very first word of that is community. So we are really a very community and locally focused type of agency. And MCE, I'll repeat that we are serving Marin, Napa, Solano, and Contra Costa counties. So very similar to my colleagues, we have a very typical RFP process. We're developing RFPs in-house by our staff that are for printing, special marketing services, customer programs, and of course, power procurement. And similar to my colleagues, we're sharing them on our distribution lists. You can go to mcecleanenergy.org/opportunities, and there you'll see all of our current RFPs. Right now, we are actually soliciting for electric vehicle charging companies as well as some special copy editing and marketing services. So if you are a business that is in one of those industries, I encourage you to take a look. And we also have opportunities for folks to sign up and get on a very specific distribution list. So we've segmented our RFP distribution list depending on the type of service. It could be power procurement, it could be energy efficiency implementation, it could be marketing and strategic communication services. All of those are things, as Scott has mentioned, that we are looking for because, again, we are obviously in the power procurement business, but we also have a lot of operational needs across our many departments. So that RFP is developed by staff. We then distribute it to our networks, primarily to those lists that I mentioned before. So if you go again to that opportunities page, you can sign up for those. And then similar to what they're doing in Peninsula Clean Energy, we have a distribution and a network of local chambers of commerce, our diverse chambers of commerce, local membership organizations as well, including the Rotary, Lions, and different types of ways that we can get out to the small and local business community, again, in Marin, Solano, Contra Costa, and Napa counties. And then, again, similar to my colleagues, depending on the size of the contract, it could be approved in-house, or if it's a larger contract, might have to go to a selection of our board of directors, all of whom are elected officials from the counties that are in our service area. And then after that contract has been awarded, that is when we will ask the contract awardee to volunteer their supplier diversity information if they are GO 156 certified, or if they are GO 156 eligible. If they happen to be a women, LGBT, diverse, or disabled veteran-owned business, but aren't yet signed up for the Supplier Diversity Clearinghouse, we will give that really strong encouragement for them to enroll in the program. And we do provide some assistance with that since we've been working a couple of years in supplier diversity. And yeah, the thing that I'll repeat again, the first word of the acronym is community. And MC has been, our board a few years ago passed a sustainable workforce policy. And we're really proud that that's been in place for a few years, and it directs our agency to buy from our local businesses whenever that's possible. Again, under the normal parameters of are they economically competitive as a contractor? Are they providing high quality and unique services? But we do have that real strong connection to our local business community, and we want to support the economic development within our service area. So I think that'll be really key for any potential contractors with CCAs. Take a look at a map at Cal CCA, our trade association. You can see if there is a CCA operating in your local area, they might be a great way to get into the CCA world, into the solicitation world of community choice programs, because as a local company or business within that service area, you might have a leg up with that local agency.
Thank you, Justin. I love the way you reminded us of the community and that local aspect, and reference folks to that map. Thank you all. So let's go on to our next question. I think we just learned a lot. I'd like to talk now about how, since you talked about that local and community aspect, let's pivot and talk about how does your CCA support local, small, and diverse businesses, and what programs do you offer or have for these businesses? And with Senate Bill 255, what initiatives are you taking or have you taken to increase the inclusion of local and small diverse businesses in your procurement and contracting? And I'll let you guys decide which order.
We don't need to always keep this order, but I'm happy to kick things off. I mean, I think Justin started to allude to a lot of, first of all, he shared that we have a lot of similarities, and just because I only talked about power, we do all the same. We're looking for printing, we're looking for special marketing services. We actually just bought an office building in Oakland, Chinatown that needs some improvement. So we have a solicitation out right now for a property manager and a construction project manager. So it really runs the gamut, and you never really know. But what we do for our small and local businesses, for those procurements, we similarly have $100,000, kind of price tag mark of what goes to the board and not. For those smaller procurements, we're lucky enough to have, many counties might have this, a small, local, and emerging business, or SLEB directory. So, hey, we need to buy 4 more desks for our office because our team is growing. Well, let's see. Well, we know we have a number of great suppliers that we've gotten things from our service area before, and that price tag is going to be a bit smaller. So if you haven't already signed up with something like that in your county or possibly city, I definitely recommend that. And also, which was mentioned by, I think, everyone else as well, like not only our city chambers, but also diverse and ethnic chambers as well. So we're continuing to expand our networks and partnerships with those organizations. And what we offer through those types of organizations is an introduction similar to this. Who is East Bay Community Energy? What are the types of contracting opportunities that we offer and that we might have down the line? And how do you get, looped in with that? And so it's going to be the same things that we're offering here, but kind of, perhaps more regular throughout the year, and through those resources of those local chambers and ethnic diverse chambers as well. And so that's something that we, it's part of our supplier diversity program and, our general procurement practices to continue to get the word out about who we are and the types of contracting opportunities that may come down the pike, as well as, how to hear about these solicitations, as they do come down. And so those are the types of things that we are currently offering, as well as technical assistance with what Justin identified, this group of businesses that are eligible for Go 156 certification, but haven't yet been certified. And so we similarly ask, once we sign a contract, we send the supplier diversity questionnaire, and those businesses that identify as eligible but not yet certified, similarly do that follow-up and offer, our staff time and resources to help. Because I know a lot of small businesses, we're actually all pretty small businesses ourselves as CCAs, and our staffs are all under 100. We're not even 40 people right now. And so we get it, but we are committed to offering that resource to small businesses in pursuing certification.
So Justin, again, how does your CCA support local, small, and diverse businesses, and what programs do you have for such businesses?
Yeah, I'll reiterate that we are proud supporters of our local business community. We're members of nearly all of our chambers of commerce, including our local diverse chambers, and members of also over 65 local membership-based organizations. Those include our chambers, but also, like I mentioned, Rotary. In the city of San Pablo, you have the San Pablo Economic Development Corporation. We are members of these organizations that are supporting the diverse Black, Indigenous, and people of color communities and local businesses within MCE's service area. And within our larger sort of sponsorship budget that goes towards community sponsorships, a little more than 47% of that budget goes towards supporting equity-based sponsorships that are, again, supporting the local BIPOC community. And yeah, I think one of our key ways that we are supporting the local diverse businesses and supporting supplier diversity is our annual Certify and Amplify event. And Certify and Amplify, that is an event that we developed in coordination and partnership with the CPUC, as well as the Clearinghouse, as well as our local utility, PG&E. And that's basically an event where we invite our local business community to learn about the Clearinghouse, to learn about GO 156, and how they, as a local, small, diverse, or women-owned, or disabled veteran, or LGBT-owned business, can enroll in this and access contracting opportunities. We're really excited. We've had really great attendance. When we first hosted this, it was in the pre-pandemic times, and it was a wonderful networking opportunity. We invited folks to our Concord office. People came in from all over the Bay Area. We even had Drisha join virtually. Bezzy was our guest speaker. And it was a great opportunity for folks to also just meet each other in the local community and listen to each other's questions, because I think in our Certify and Amplify event, folks are asking a lot of really great questions about what will make me stand out as a business. What can I do? How can I use the Clearinghouse to start networking and meeting some of the utilities or some of the companies that are contracting? So that has been a really important event for MCE and our supplier diversity work. And it's been, I think, really powerful for our local diverse business community as well to learn about supplier diversity, and then also to learn about that it's not just about MCE contracting opportunities, but you're also going to be open to contracting opportunities across all of these regulated utilities. And I think we're really excited that some of our sister agencies are taking that model of Certify and Amplify and hosting similar events in their local community as well. And some of our local chambers have even requested that we host special Certify and Amplify events in partnership with them. Right now, we're planning, we don't have a date quite yet, but we're working with our local Bay Area Hispanic Chamber to have a specific Certify and Amplify event that'll be available in English and Spanish for our local Spanish-speaking business owners, as well as non-Spanish-speaking business owners as well. And yeah, I think we're always working on ways that we can reach the community more deeply. We've been doing this year more in-language communication. Specifically, we've conducted local Spanish language public access television and radio interviews talking about MCE and opportunities with MCE. And I think we're always looking for more ideas for how we can support these local businesses, again, relying on our chambers and local membership organizations who can help us get the word out.
Thank you. Scott, you want to go next? Talk about the programs you have to support local small business and what actions you guys have taken to increase the inclusion of small, local, and diverse businesses in your procurement.
Thank you, Stephanie. Yes, and thank you, Justin, for kind of highlighting some of the activities. I think, you know, there will be some similarities probably with what all of us are doing, right? So, of course, we do have these outreach to local chambers and diverse chamber activities. So I won't repeat too much about that topic, but I guess instead I will highlight a couple of other actions that we're taking as well. One of the things that we work towards is sponsoring scholarships and workforce development initiatives. And I think that sort of tackles this topic from a different direction by, you know, helping students, diverse students or workers kind of break into the renewable energy business, because there can be, you know, some pretty significant barriers to entry in this field. So that's one way that we're working toward to kind of expand those opportunities. And then with our existing prime contracts in the energy field, we also are encouraging them to utilize small and diverse subcontractors. So maybe there may not be the opportunities for the prime contracting because of some of those barriers to entry that we talked about, which might just be, the initial investment. But there are opportunities within those prime contracts to have diverse and local small businesses be subcontractors. So that's something that we always encourage our prime contractors to do. And then something that we've also been thinking about with contracting, maybe with smaller suppliers, is being a little bit more flexible with our contracting terms. So sometimes it can be difficult for small businesses, for instance, to have insurance limits at higher levels because many small businesses do not, and that can be a significant barrier. So that's something that we always take into account, and we are oftentimes able to offer some flexibility when we are talking about those types of contracting terms. So those, I think, are some of the other actions that we're taking outside of those sort of main outreach efforts. But the other thing I would kind of highlight is that as a younger organization, we are always working to kind of increase those outreach efforts and expand our audience. And that's something that we're really focused on for the coming year.
Excellent, thank you. And Shayna.
Great, thank you. I'll kind of reiterate a little bit of what my colleagues said. Peninsula Clean Energy is also a member of all of our local chambers of commerce and also our ethnic chambers of commerce, and also for the San Mateo County Economic Development Association. So we're very involved in local economic development within our service territory. So that is one way in which we support our small, local, and diverse businesses. We also have a local preference policy for procurement. So we prefer to contract with entities that are within our service territory or within the Bay Area. And with Senate Bill 255 as an initial first step, we updated some language on our solicitation page to encourage minority-owned, women-owned, and other diverse businesses to apply for our contracting opportunities. And we also linked to the Supplier Clearinghouse and the Department of General Services webpage for disabled veteran business enterprises and small businesses to encourage those who may qualify to certify with those entities as well. In addition, we released a solicitation earlier this year for diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusion consulting services. And as under that compliance with SB 255 and improved reporting under General Order 156 were one of the deliverables under that RFP. So we are currently in the process of getting board approval for the contract for the selected consultant, and that consultant will review templates, including our solicitation language, and revise or remove language that may create barriers or obstacles for small and minority-owned businesses, including unnecessary or high requirements for bonding, insurance, and experience levels. And in order to improve GO 156, the consultant will also be evaluating our outreach activities for small, local, and diverse businesses as well. So that's something we're focused on in the coming year.
Excellent, thank you. I want to pivot to talking about opportunities and how someone can get to the right people. So my question is this, where might a business go and who might they speak to get information about your CCA, and how can a local, smaller, diverse business looking to do business with your CCA get in front of the right person or the right people in your organization?
Someone else want to go first this time?
How about Scott? Why don't you go first?
Thanks, Stephanie. Yeah, so I think we touched on this a little bit earlier. One of the things, as I said, that I encourage people to do is to become a pre-qualified provider. That way you are already on that list when we have future task order solicitations. So I think that's probably the most direct and active step that you can take to, make sure that you are getting these opportunities. Now, having said that, obviously, there are people that you can reach out to. There are a couple of emails on our contracting page on the CPA website. So it breaks down into two different email inboxes. One goes to energy procurement, and then one comes to non-energy procurement, which would be me. So we have those mailboxes that we monitor. And then, of course, you can also contact me directly. I'm happy to, talk through any kind of questions that suppliers may have about current opportunities. But the first step would be taking a look at our website or any other postings that we have, and then, as I said, becoming a pre-qualified provider so that we know that you're out there and that you're interested in these opportunities.
Excellent, thank you. How about Shana? Why don't you go next? Mix up our order.
Great. Yeah, so similar to what Scott said, we post our open solicitations on our solicitation webpage, which can be found at www.peninsulacleanenergy.com/solicitations. You could also send questions to me at sbarnes@peninsulacleanenergy.com, as I'm the supplier diversity contact for our organization. And also usually within each solicitation, we have a contact. So if you are interested in a particular solicitation, you could send question and answer to the contact that is listed in that solicitation as well.
Okay, thank you. And Justin.
Yeah, I think we're all going to be pointing folks to our opportunities or solicitations page. So I'll say ours again, mcecleanenergy.org/opportunities. And I mentioned earlier that we have our sort of notification list for when RFPs are going out, but we segment it depending on the industry. So I'll list out, we have different lists for public affairs, marketing, creative, and event production, energy efficiency, demand response, workforce development, electric vehicles or EV charging, non-energy related services or construction, tech and analytics, finance and human resources, and then lastly, of course, energy, industry and procurement. So if you are pretty squarely in one of those categories, I highly suggest checking out our website, signing up for that specific listserv. And most frequently, we're soliciting for, marketing, legal, and printing services, all of our energy efficiency programs, transportation and building electrification programs, and then again, obviously, electricity generation. As far as getting in contact with staff, I think Vanessa pointed out, we are ourselves really, small and mighty teams. So for MCE, we actually point folks towards our info@mcecleanenergy.org. That email address is staffed by one of my colleagues on our public affairs team, and they're very knowledgeable. If you're, introduce yourself as a local business interested in connecting with MC staff, they know who to connect them to. That might be me, and you can also, of course, reach out to me at jmarquez, MARQUEZ, at mcecleanenergy.org. Or it could be to a very specific person on our customer programs team or our power resources team, or if you offer human resources services, our HR team. So if you go to info@, that's going to be a really good catch-all. And then, of course, as Shana mentioned, if you're looking at a very specific RFP, typically there will be a contact listed there. And our small and mighty team is really excited for these one-on-one conversations because, again, it's an opportunity to learn more about who you might be. So I encourage folks to reach out. It never hurts. Yeah, we're again, small team, so we're here to answer your questions. Yeah.
Excellent. And Vanessa.
Great. Again, lots of similarities. Our webpage, we actually just added a new section to host both our solicitations and our supplier diversity web pages. So if you go to ebce.org, if you go to the About Us, there's Doing Business with EBCE, and then you'll find information in both the links out there. Our solicitations page is just ebce.org/solicitations. Supplier diversity is supplier-diversity. And there's some great resources on there as well. I think in terms of, outside of the solicitation process, I mean, for all of our contracting opportunities, they're open for all eligible vendors and to participate in, and we encourage participation by all. And in terms of those smaller, procurements that don't have a formal solicitation, like I mentioned earlier, that SLEB or Small Local Emerging Business Directory, in Alameda County, we're going to be looking there first. So you'll want to be listed in there. And for your own county or city, that might be a great resource if you have something. But Justin mentioned this earlier too. Cal CCA, which is our trade organization, has a map of all the CCAs across the state of California. And I think it's a great opportunity to see if you are served by a CCA. A number of us have mentioned we've only been operational for the last 2, 3, 4 years. And so you may not be aware that you're being served by a CCA, but it's a great opportunity to check that out. And their solicitation processes, you have a sample size of 4 here. There are about 20 plus CCAs now in the state. Solicitation process is going to look pretty similar. The types of solicitations and contracting opportunities also going to look pretty similar. So I would definitely recommend folks get a sense of who your local CCA might be, and they probably have a solicitations webpage as well, and email us to sign up for. So I definitely, encourage those things. And we've all said pretty small, mighty teams. I think in terms of our the right people, basically only ever going to be 1 degree separated from the right person if you didn't, nail it on the head the first time. And our solicitations will also list a point of contact, our supplier diversity emails on our supplier diversity webpage for questions pertaining to the program and technical assistance. And I think everything is listed right there on the webpage. My contact information is vgerber@ebc.org, also on the booth. So definitely open to questions. For some of our bigger, our formal solicitations, we will want to make sure that the question and answer process around, very specific questions is fair and accessible to everyone. So we will have, kind of guidelines around how that process works, so we can make sure everyone has access to our insights and sharing that information as well. So the information is generally pretty well lined out for those larger solicitations, and otherwise we're pretty easy to find.
Great. And what I love hearing is, unlike some large companies where you email and it goes into some vacuum, you guys are saying you're small and lean. So when you say go to the website and email, it actually is going to go to a person, and that person's actually going to respond. So I want the vendors to know that they're not sending you to some generic email where you'll never get looked at. It sounds like the people on this call or one of their colleagues are actually going to get the email, respond. So do use those websites. It sounds like it's a great resource. And one of you just mentioned, Vanessa, the technical assistance and capacity building, and I'd like to pivot to that because part of our supplier diversity program is technical assistance, capacity building, it's training. So I'd like to find out, what kind of programs does your CCA offer in terms of training and development opportunities for local, small, and diverse businesses? And how does somebody find out about those opportunities?
Well, I could go first, Stephanie, if that's okay.
Okay.
Great. So we are building our technical and capacity building program this year. It is not yet live on our website, but as part of building our technical assistance and capacity building program, we will be providing resources from the NorCal PTAC, or the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, on our website. So the NorCal PTAC can help our small, local, and diverse businesses with registrations, small business certifications, solicitation reviews, bid submittals, contract compliance, and anything else related to contracting, and their services are 100% free. They also provide one-on-one counseling to small and diverse businesses and can help them create their statement of qualifications or capacity statement as well. So that will soon be on our website, linking out to those resources. As my colleagues referenced before, we are often a lean team, so we're not going to be producing all of that great resources ourselves, but we will be providing access to that on our website, on our solicitation page.
Thank you. Excellent. Justin, you want to go next?
Yeah, and Shayna, that sounds great. We'll definitely have to connect to learn more about that that program. And yeah, I think I mentioned before, we run our annual Certify and Amplify event. And while that's a single workshop, but we do, again, use that as an opportunity to meet our local diverse businesses, connect with them, and then work with them if they have very specific questions and provide some form of technical assistance in that regard. And then similarly, if there are eligible businesses that don't have their GO 156 certification yet, we will follow up with them and see what barriers there might be and see if they would be interested in getting certified with the Supplier Clearinghouse. And then, kind of outside of the supplier diversity realm, the way that we connect with our local business community, a lot of those chambers and local membership organizations offer a lot of development and training opportunities for the local business community. And especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, I know, for example, the San Pablo Economic Development Corporation held a series of trainings for how local small and diverse businesses could access capital and loan financing. And in a similar vein, during the pandemic, MCE's board of directors passed a new program or approved a new program called the MCE Cares Credit. It's for residents, but then for small businesses on a very specific electric rate, they could qualify for a 20% discount on their electricity bill. And that went into effect earlier this year through the end of the fiscal year of March 2021. So making sure that we have ways that we are supporting our local small businesses. And again, as Shana mentioned too, we do run our Certified Amplify event, but we do have a smaller team. So also making sure that folks know they can connect with the local membership organizations and pointing them towards some of the trainings and workshops that are available through those organizations is also a great resource for our local business community.
Very good. Scott or Vanessa, who wants to go next?
I
This
can
is
go
Scott smiling first. So Scott, how about you?
Thank you, Stephanie. Yeah, so I think I will just kind of echo what Justin said here. CPA does not run any of our own training programs at the moment. That is something that we are looking to collaborate on in the coming year. However, we do support a number of local chambers and diverse organizations that do have their own training programs. So as Justin said, we would try to point people to those resources and those opportunities at the moment. But it definitely is on our radar, and it's something that we're hoping to be able to work on and collaborate on in the coming year.
Excellent, thank you. And Vanessa.
Sure. Yeah. Again, lots of similarities. I think specifically around our technical assistance. That's listed on our supplier diversity page. Pretty small team, so the process doesn't need to be too complicated. You'll literally just email our supplier diversity email address that's listed there on the website. If that's for support, pursuing certification, or also if you need to hire subcontractors, might have your own supplier diversity program, or want to source subs from the Supplier Clearinghouse, but want help navigating that, or need a little extra support in that process. That's another thing that we offer. Again, like Justin said, appreciate the tip for the NorCal PTAC. That's something, perhaps as we grow and perhaps get some increased inquiries into this, might want to kind of bolster up our offering there. But right now, happy to offer our staff time and resources for that. Like everyone else, working with our local city and ethnic and diverse chambers around education, who we are, what our solicitation opportunities are, and how to access those. And another thing that I think is also probably pretty true across the organizations, I guess two things. We have community innovation grants, which is those are energy specific, and those will be on our solicitations page as well. There's another page on our website to learn more specifically about who's received those in the past, but that's another opportunity. Those are for local energy related ideas and projects. And the other is workforce development. So, we do partner with a number of local workforce development organizations, as I'm sure all of the CCAs here do as well. In our service area, those are groups like Cypress Mandela, Rising Sun Energy Center, Grid Alternatives, actually in MC's headquartered, I believe, in MC's service area. And while they are largely, for individuals looking to skill up for jobs, perhaps more than for businesses themselves. In some cases, they'll have resources for businesses. but absolutely, an incredible channel for businesses to hire new talent, especially in the energy space. So that's something that EBCE, along with most, if not all, CCAs are devoutly committed to.
That's a great one to point out. So we've got the chambers, your own organizations, resources and staff, and we've got these workforce development organizations, all great resources there. Well, we are almost out of time, but I would be remiss if we don't close out by asking each of you, what advice would you give a local, smaller, diverse business who wants to succeed with your CCA? And Vanessa, since you're already on, I'll have you go first. What advice would you give?
Sure. Take us up on these offers for, look at the resources that we talked about, our websites, and figuring out who your local CCA is. And also take a look at not only your own local CCA's webpage, but a couple, to really get a sense of the types of, those solicitation pages. What are the types of offerings? Because while we do procure for a whole host of different things, we don't procure for everything. And we do want to be able to respond and provide really good relationship and response, but we aren't going to be procuring for everything. So really getting a sense of what might be a good fit. Sign up for our solicitations. If you're going to be bidding in, go to the Q&A session, ask your questions, and really take advantage of those opportunities to connect with us and get those questions answered. Keep an eye on our website.
Perfect. Next, how about Justin?
Yeah, that's great advice. I think folks had mentioned earlier too that, check out previous RFPs. You can see what we were looking for in the past. Maybe you can see who was awarded that contract, get a better sense of what we are looking for. And then as you are responding, I'll talk a little bit to that. I think for MCE, there are sort of two, things that I think would really push you over the edge. One, if you can align yourself with our mission, MCE as a public agency, our mission is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and combat climate change. So we're committed to climate action. We're committed to championing sustainability. And if your solicitation can really stand out, if you demonstrate how your mission as a company, as a contractor, is aligned with that, and how we could work together to achieve sort of that shared mission. And then the second piece that I think can help a solicitation really stand out is highlighting the contributions to the local community. As I highlighted before, we are founded as a local community-centered agency. So another key part of that mission I mentioned is also supporting the local economy and workforce. So if you can demonstrate how your contributions as a business are supporting MCE's local economy and workforce, again, we are in alignment with what our mission is. So I think those are some of the ways that the solicitation could really stand out in a pile when it comes to the various RFPs that you can find on our website at MCE, cleanenergy.org/opportunities.
Excellent. And Scott?
Yeah, so I think I would just kind of echo all of the things that were just said. And the one thing I would say in particular, when you are, submitting your proposal as part of a solicitation, we're not just looking at for the lowest dollar price, right? We're looking for what we call the best value for the services. So the best value can take a lot of factors into consideration. So as a small business, as a diverse business, if you can really highlight what you're bringing to the table, that's going to be so helpful to you. So oftentimes when we're looking at proposals, we're thinking, how responsive can this person be to CPA's needs? Are you small? Are you nimble? Or are you a large corporation where an email goes to an inbox that isn't monitored regularly? Right. So I think it's really being able to highlight all of those advantages, local connections, knowledge of local markets. So really highlight that in your proposal. Show us how you stand out, because those are definitely factors that we take into consideration. We're not just looking at the bottom line as a dollar amount.
Excellent. Thank you. And Shayna?
Great. I won't add too much. I think my colleagues covered most of it. But I would say to really take advantage of our question and answer periods during our solicitations. All of our solicitations have Q&A periods. All of our questions and answers are posted on our website. So if you're considering submitting a bid for one of our solicitations, yeah, it's a great opportunity to ask any questions you may have.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank all of our panelists today. I think this has been a very informative panel. Again, the CCAs are newer to the program, but there's a lot of exciting opportunities there. And I'm glad we were able to have an introduction to the audience of how they might go about procurement with the CCA. And again, I thank you for your time. And I thank the audience for attending here today. I see there was some contact information requests in the Q&A, and one of my staff was going to respond to all the Q&A, and I can't tell if everything was responded to, but I'll assume that the Q&A is being handled offline. And with that, I'm going to thank our panelists, thank our attendees, and we'll close out our session today. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.
All right.